Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis, host of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. In this extra edition, we are with Tim Thomas, Ole Miss legend, and a person that was at the Ole Miss Troy basketball game on Tuesday night. Tim, the first thing I say before we get anything is Matthew Murrell is the first player in school history that had over 10 steals in a game.
Wow.
And his Dominique Wilkins windmill dunk, I'm here for that, Tim.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I played in the same years that he played at Georgia, and I've seen it several of those. I remember the very first game that we knew he was highly rated and all that, 5-star or whatever it was back then. And I remember he was a sub. He came in and someone shot the ball, and he was around the free throw line. Their team shot the ball. He got it from the free throw line thereabouts and slammed it back in with two hands. And the whole Coliseum, the old Tad Pad, silence, man, all silence. So we knew that possibility he was going to be great. And Matthew Morel has some characteristics and possibilities, we just have to wait and see, but he is definitely talented. He's got the hops. He can get up, and he steals, and he was on Sports Center last night, top 7 of the 10 with his windmill dunk.
Yeah, it was something pretty terrific. And you know what? The one thing that I'm really proud about Matthew Morel is the shooting issues that he was having under Kermit Davis. That is gone. And he's just a pure outside jump shooter right now, to where I think he's hitting somewhere around 60% over like the last 3 games or something like that.
You've heard it before if you've listened to Beard much. Last year, for whatever reason, Morel was kind of him and Brakefield off and on, but he was taking 4 shots, highly closely guarded. This year, the way their offense is set up, and Juju and the other guys, they're penetrating and then dishing. They're going in and then dishing for open, not good shots, not decent shots, but wide open, great shots. And that's a big difference. And also, I want to say that he is subbing really well. Beard, he got 4 coaches to help him, but they have fresh legs. Their legs, they come in, man, they're ready, and he just rotates them in and out. He's Brandon Murray added. It's a great thing to see them shooting as well. They shot nearly 60% against Cal the night. I think it was around 40-something last night, but they're shooting really well. And before I forget about this, they have a shooting school there at the pavilion. They go over videos. They go over techniques. Every person they go through their shooting, and it just builds confidence and builds confidence. So the confidence is overwhelming right now in their shooting.
That reminds me, just bringing about that you got to see Brandon Murray in person. What are your first impressions?
He's very talented. He has a ways to go. Beard mentioned that he was on the scout team. Didn't know his fate, so he was been on the scout team and just not probably he's not really good athletic. He's not ready. He's just not ready yet, but he's getting there. He made a couple of good shots, made a 3. Great assist, really good defensive guy. We've seen videos of him, making those windmill dunks and slams from the free throw line. So we know he's got it. And within the next week or so, we'll see it. It's going to happen. I know it is. I've seen enough video, and you've seen it. I remember when he played at LSU. So he's very talented, and he's the first guy in off the bench. So that tells you how good he is. He's really helpful for this team in the future. And I heard you may be going to talk about Cisse. I heard good things through the press conference that Cisse, no structural damage, just some little spring or little but we all good there. So that was great to hear, because last night close up there we had real good seats, and it didn't look good. He was really in pain, and you may have saw it on TV. He didn't look good, but everything that Beard said, unless something's happened since then, he's good to go.
Yeah, I think it's a weird thing, and everybody should probably pay attention to what's going on with it. But it was basically the equivalent to hitting your funny bone, it looked like. Now, it might be more serious than that, but the impact that it hit caused it hurts a good deal whenever you hit that floor, as you know, a certain way. If you go bone against that floor, not going to say it can leave a mark, but it can hurt you pretty good.
Yeah, I think he was, like you said, he was kind of scared. It was a pain, real sharp pain, but he's had some injuries in the past, and I'm not sure what they are. I don't know if they're knee. He had a little thing on his knee, brace on his knee from the past, and I don't know if it was ankle issues, what he has, but Beard has mentioned that he not only had to go through this waiver police, he had to go through some injuries, but he looked good on the bench. I was good to see that he was on the end of the bench, but Beard decided he didn't need him to play. So why take a chance? And I would think they fully checked it out again this morning. The doctors, he probably went and checked it out, x-rayed, whatever, just to be sure, make sure he's good to go. So they'll be ready. He'll be ready for Southern Miss this Saturday in Biloxi.
Yeah, they're in Biloxi tomorrow, as this video is airing on Friday. Tomorrow they'll be playing USM on the coast. That Coliseum's finally going to get some use. Ole Miss has played down there like 3 or 4 times. I'm sure they're using it for something, but they don't play in that Coliseum very often. And you figure with Ole Miss, it'd be a good idea to get down to Biloxi to play those games, just of the fact that Ole Miss is so far away.
Yeah, he act like he's going to do that every year. Like he's going to do the Tad Pad and bring in a coach and their players. I think he's going to do that. Maybe possibly, I'd say Jackson next year and some of the other bigger cities there in that area. He's trying to get everybody connected. He wants the whole state of Mississippi, like in football. He wants the whole state of Mississippi calling it Ole Miss. So that as the recruiting is going, as you well know, it's good to see that the football team is really doing well. The recruiting, the portal is wonderful to see. So I'm looking forward to next year in football as well.
Yeah, Ole Miss is 11-0 right now, which is for the first time since 2007. They were 11-0, and that team went 13-0. That's the record holder. But they have done it 3 times, I think, in school history. They've hit 11-0. So if Ole Miss defeats Southern Mississippi tomorrow, that takes them to 12-0, and that's the second best start in school history. That's not bad for a year one under Chris Beard, is it?
Yeah, like I said, he has a habit of doing this everywhere he goes. He's done it at Little Rock. He's done it at Texas Tech and other places. He's really good for whatever reason. I don't know. Why are we so good? We got good talent. He is the reason. He's very good. We got to fear the beard. I don't know what we got to get some kind of slogan going. John Rothstein, he always using these little phrases for coaches. We got to come up one with Beard. But he, like Kiffin, I saw a tweet, adapt or die. He's that type of coach. He's a real deal. Let me say this. I'm bringing my father. He's passed now, but he used to talk about sports and in a general business, whatever, prior proper planning, the 3 Ps, he called it. And I'm going to just use prior proper planning. I guarantee Chris Beard, they tried a press last night and they went to another press. And the guys knew it. They were sitting there. There wasn't no bewilderment. I'll get that out. Sorry. They knew what was coming. They already studied that. They all week long. He has prepared like the John Wooden, the older folks remember him. He had them prepared. When he came to the game, it was just like an orchestra. He just orchestrated the team, and Beard's the same way. He's calm over there on the sideline, and he tells his assistant coaches, and he lets them do some coaching. But overall, he is calm. He is prepared. He knows, and he feels good about winning each and every game. He wants to win each and every one. He don't want to lose any, and that means a lot to me.
Yeah, and you mentioned John Wooden. I think that is actually an apt name that you brought up, because one of the famous John Wooden sayings is he wanted his teams to play fast but not in a hurry. And I think that is just a perfect indicator of what Ole Miss basketball looks like at the moment. They're playing, everything is quickly moving around, but they don't look rushed at all.
They're, like we talked about last week, their coach is calm over there, cool and collected. He is sitting there. He's had them prepared. They've done a great job of scouting the other team. They know they pretty well pressed the whole game. They thought that was the only way they could win. And we had like 14 turnovers, but they had 25. So that's good there. And can't forget Murrell's 10 steals. How does that even happen? I've never heard of that. He had a double-double. Points and steals. I've heard rebounding. I've heard of Cisse, but he really showed out. I was proud. And then Sharp had 6 blocks. he for a period of time there in the first half, he just totally dominated. They couldn't even get a ball up anywhere. He knocked everything back. And on defense, when over in the corner one time, he had his hands up, and that guy, he just called a timeout because he had no way to get away. It was impossible. Spider-Man, whatever, he was all over him. It was impossible. So it was good to see. And Flanagan had 9 assists. That tells you about the character of that guy, the selflessness, and the team that Beard has got together.
And the one player that we're not mentioning is Jamon Brakefield, who has quietly over the last couple of games kind of put it together.
Yeah, I always tell him he's your boy, and that's a good thing because I like him too. I really do. He's got a lot of good ways, and I was hoping he watched the show when I was talking about his defense, and I believe someone got him, probably wasn't me, but someone kind of scolded him and fired him up a little bit because you can tell the difference. He is really he's kind of a finesse player. It's just the way he is. But now he's getting tougher and rougher. And I assume those guys, Coach Pinkins and some of them guys inside, you can tell Sharp, he's still kind of lean and all, but you can tell on the boards, and he's really playing tougher and rougher. And I think he had like 6 rebounds. So he's coming around too. So this team is really coming together at the right time. And we got a couple of games. I believe we should handle them if, something don't go bad. And then we got big bad Tennessee coming up January the 6th at Knoxville. And in the past, I would always say it's really hard to play up there away from home, 24,000 people dressed in orange, almost blinds you, We got a chance to win this game. Coach Beard, he will have a pattern. He will have a plan to beat those guys. And, what's to say we won't beat them up there? And if that happens, it's really going to be a great year.
And before we get out of here, I do want to bring this up. One thing that I noticed in the game against Troy the other night is they're using Jarryn Sharkey not so much as a rebound guy, but as a tap guy. He's trying to tap the ball out to another player. I saw that on multiple occasions. And sometimes Jarryn Sharkey, his hands aren't as strong as we would like him to be. I think that's a way that they could be more active on the offensive glass. And it worked like 3 or 4 times with him tapping it out to the free throw line in that area. So that is something I think is interesting. Is that something you noticed as well?
Yeah, they practice that. I know we used to practice it. If you can't get the ball, and he's so tall, he can get his hands on a lot of balls. He may not be able to get it. And being that tall, he gets a lot of calls being over the back, even though he's not really over the back. If you got 7'5" of a body, it almost looks like you're over everybody's back when you're there, when they're blocking you out. And a lot of them block you out, and it's really they're really fouling you because they get and kind of get into you. But he does that's a good point. Yeah, he does that well. He done it real good last night. And a lot of those long rebounds, if he can just tap it just a little bit out to the front, you saw several of those rebounds with Brakefield and Juju and several other guys. So that's a good point.
Anyway, thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team, every single day. Tim Thomas, thank you so much for joining the show, man, and we will see you next week, bud.
All right, good deal. Hotty toddy. Fear the beard.
Hotty toddy.